Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Facebook Live with very special guest, Susie Godsey. Thanks for being here, Susie.
Thanks for having me, Sewell. I'm really happy to be here.
Cool. So, yeah, we had Tim and Tanya on the first call of Wild Thing this morning, and very excited to do a call with you in just 2 days' time.
Yay!
Yeah. And
Tim and Tanya, I just want to say, are really truly one of my favorite people when it comes to all of the farming and well, they're my favorite people anyway. Hey, what can I say? But they're just a wealth of information and all of that. So it's amazing. They are just I take my hat off to them.
yeah. Well, I was saying to Tiffany that there's something about the way that they sort of just describe everything and talk about, the way that they work with, energy on the land and everything that it just makes so much sense, and it's so easy and sort of palatable for people to, get these
Totally.
different concepts of awareness and energy and consciousness. And yeah, so
Totally.
yeah. And can you tell like us a little bit about, yourself and how you came to, these tools and, working with animals and the land. And I know
Oh my
I
God,
know it's a
how
lot,
much
but
time do we have?
yeah.
Well, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it as quickly as
Yeah,
possible.
sure.
Well, just really, truly, and I think this may be true for a lot of people. I always had an affinity to animals my entire life, and I always loved nature, and so I just never knew what to do with it until I came across Access Consciousness, and that really changed everything for me. Because up until that point, I really didn't know what to do with the awareness, and there wasn't any job available. When I was a kid, I was looking at all the different jobs that were available with animals, and nothing, really truly nothing, interested me. And when I met Gary Douglas and he was talking about, these tools and everything, all of a sudden it just became like, wow, I could do that. So I started facilitating people with their animals and everything, and that's been so much fun for me. And the only thing that came close to it prior to Access was being a dog walker, and that's what I did as my job when I actually came into Access. And that was the closest to that energy. But now the energy I was aware of as a kid as a possibility is here with these tools. So that's been really my little trip here, and and I'm enjoying it very much. So
That's awesome. And I mean, we actually just recently did a talk to the animals book club, and in there, Gary tells a story about doing a class with you and some dogs, and I think there was like 12 or more dogs, in the house at the one time. And he said he
exactly.
walked in and it was,
I can't hear you anymore, so
very funny. But
yeah.
I know as well, I've seen some videos of Shannon who's staying at your place and, in New Mexico. And it's like there's you've created all sorts of things for the wildlife and the animals there. And, so it's obviously something that you're really passionate about. And I know I hear lots of stories about you caring for all the animals at the ranch and everything as well, and making, different animals' houses and things like that. So, is it something that's just always been like natural to you to animals have always talked to you, or what's
Pretty
your
much,
like
honestly,
how
pretty
did that
much.
sort of come about?
Yeah, I didn't know what to do with that either when I was a kid because I could hear the animals talking. And then the only way I could deal with it was I started walking an imaginary pack of dogs when I was a kid. And that was the only way I could deal with it. So I could talk back to them. But they were, of course, imaginary. So I'm not sure how people that saw me would react to me, like talking out loud to these dogs that were invisible. But yeah, I mean, in a way, it's also like of course, as so many people do probably too, I had this point of view of wanting to save the world, which has also changed quite a lot. And still, there was always a little bit of that still there, where I think I could always perceive what was required for animals to be sheltered, to feel safe, to like have a home and all that kind of stuff, which sometimes can also get a little bit crazy. And I admit I'm a little bit crazy when it comes to that. And it is getting more into where I can now do it from no point of view. I'm still working on that. It's getting there. Just really, and that I think is the part that is the hardest, is to really be there for the animals, be there for the earth, but at the same time not doing that from a superior point of view of like, oh, I know best. It's really more like, hey, what is really required here? And we house animals, we have them in our environment, and we expect them to be a certain way, and at the same time we sometimes don't ask questions. What do they actually require? What is necessary here? And it's not nature anymore per se. There isn't a lot of wild nature left on this planet. Most of what we have around us has been cultivated to some degree. And I think we have to also look at that. We have to know that we have been influencing our environment for a very long time. And so how do we put a little bit more wild into that again? And how do we facilitate that where everything can live? Because a lot of times it's also about like, oh, I need to get the nuisance animals out of here. I don't want to live with a wolf in my neighborhood or with the coyotes coming and stealing my chickens. And yet, were those animals supposed to go again? We don't really leave them a lot of room. And when we ask the earth, hey, earth, is it a contribution to kill all these animals and to only have basically what we desire on the planet? I don't know. Check in yourself and see what the planet says to that. To me, it's like, hey, how can we create more of a living together, all of us, and no matter what animals, we don't have to invite them into our homes, but how can we live together and all be here with ease?
Susie, I actually can't hear you. It's like dropped out, but I'm hoping that everyone just heard everything that you said, and I'm pretty sure you can hear me. But I don't know why it dropped out again. But we might have to leave it there. But I'd like this, for any of you that are interested, we have a call coming up in just a few days called Wild Thing, and we're going to be having a much more in-depth conversation with Susie, and all the proceeds from the class are going towards Forests for Futures. So we were very excited, and thank you so much for coming on, and I'm sorry
Thank
about the
you.
technical issues.
Thank you, Soul. I really appreciate
But
it.
yeah, we'll
Thank you.
post some links to the class in the comments, and thanks so much for coming on and saying hi, and I look forward to seeing you on the call in a few days.
Yay, me too. Thank you, Soul.
Okay, great. Thanks, Susie.
Bye.
Bye.